If I even feel there is a smidge of coolness in the air, I immediately go to this comfort food dish. I make it all the time at my house. Juicy chicken thighs, crispy, and they're braised in a really delicious apple cider and herb sauce. Absolutely fantastic. You're gonna love it. Meet me over in my kitchen. This is one of my family's favorite meals. I make this a couple times a month, especially when the weather is a little cooler outside. Because I know when it's cooler outside, everybody runs to the pumpkin. I don't. I run to the chai flavors and I run to the apple cider flavors. So that's what we're gonna do, some really amazing apple cider braised chicken thighs. So first thing I wanna do here, I got a nice big pan. It doesn't have to be a Dutch oven. However, I do feel you need one. Go to my other video, 5 things that'll make you, what's it called, Steven? Steven, what's that video called? Kitchen Essentials, something. Go to that. He'll put a little thing, ding, right here that you can then push. And one of the 5 things I think you should have is a Dutch oven. I have a lot, and I just got this new baby for Christmas, so we're gonna use it. We need to brown the skin of these bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. Here's how I feel about chicken thighs. First of all, I'm gonna start heating up about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then I have 3 tablespoons of butter, but I cut it in half, so I'm just gonna use half of it now. We're gonna get the flavor of butter, which we love, but the olive oil will keep it from burning. Now, chicken thighs. I think that they are the filet mignon of the chicken, okay? I know chicken breast is the big thing everyone in America uses. Everybody loves chicken breast. I don't, and I can speak on behalf of most chefs. Most of us don't love chicken breast. There's not a lot of flavor, there's no fat on them, they're just boring. You have to do a lot to jazz them up. However, for chicken thighs, the dark meat, it is just succulent and so juicy, and I'll tell you, so hard to overcook. Whereas chicken breasts dry out immediately, chicken thighs do not. Now, I like the skin on bone-in ones, but this dish is so versatile. If you want to do skinless, boneless chicken breasts, skinless, boneless chicken thighs, skin on, bone-in chicken, I don't care. Just put chicken in the bowl and then season it up and put chicken in your pan. That's all I want you to do. So right now I'm melting down that butter and olive oil, getting it nice and hot over medium-high heat. I seasoned my chicken with salt and pepper. I'm going to turn them and season the other side. See, the bone is still there. I am fully aware that it's a little harder to work around with a fork and knife when you keep the bone in it, but look, that bone it's filled with just amazing richness and goodness, and it gets into the sauce and gets into the chicken, and I think it makes it delicious, but you do you. Whatever you think you want to do. All right, we got a sizzle here. Like I've talked about a million times, I'm not going to put anything in my pan that doesn't make some noise. So if this doesn't make noise, I'm pulling it back out. We need it to go in. Okay, let's see what we got. I don't like that noise. We're just going to hold on. Just give it a second. Because look, if I put my chicken in there right now, it's going to soak up the butter, soak up the oil. It's going to get greasy like the skin is. It's not going to brown properly, and I want crispy skin. There's nothing worse than getting a piece of chicken that has like rubbery skin. Steven, am I right? Thank you. So again, all right, now we're getting a little bit of a sizzle here. I kind of move it around a little bit just to make sure we got that butter and oil underneath it. Yeah, get that sizzle, kind of spread it out a little bit. We want that skin touching. Now, if you don't have to use a Dutch oven. If you just have a deep pan that you have a cover to, I'm happy. All right, we hear the sizzle. Now look, there's a couple tricks here. We're gonna get that sizzle, we're gonna get that nice crispy brown skin because we all agree we don't like the flabby skin. But let's pretend you go to turn this and it's stuck to the bottom. Don't touch it, leave it alone. Your food, when it caramelizes, will release on its own. The sugars come out, it gets crusty, it comes off the pan. That goes for chicken, fish, veggies, whatever. So if I try and turn this in a little bit and it doesn't move, step away. Don't force it. Everybody does that. They try and force it up. Not fun. Let that do its thing. Let's get a couple things ready here for mise en place. I've got some lovely shallots here. Now, shallots are one of those things that I feel are very underused in a home-cooked kitchen, but it's just like the most mild onion, and it melds into food beautifully. If you don't have shallots, you can feel free to use a small onion or a half of an onion if you'd like, but I do think shallots kind of make this dish. Now, a lot of recipes will just call, like this recipe, 2 shallots. What does that even mean? Shallots can be so many different sizes. For me, if it fits in the palm of my hand, that's a shallot, perfect size. If it's too big, like this one right here is huge, I wouldn't use that huge one. I just want one that's like a big walnut almost. To me, that's the perfect size for a shallot. Okay, so I'm gonna get my 2 shallots ready. All I'm doing here is I am just cutting off the ends. Cut it in half, just like you would an onion. Again, another video I did, check out my knife skills video because I show you how to chop an onion. It's exactly how I'm gonna chop up these shallots right now. Now, any restaurant I ever worked at always had shallots, chopped shallots, just big buckets sitting on your station. They start every soup, every sauce, every salad dressing, marinades. They're so mild and lovely. I highly recommend working with shallots more. See how I'm not touching these? I'm not gonna touch them. Right now it's tempting. Let's go take a look. Let that chicken skin get crispy. See how the color is turning because the chicken fat is going in there. That's gonna make the sauce nice and rich. Now I've got my shallots here. I'm just gonna do a nice thin slice on them. Just like that, easy peasy. We want to make sure, because apple cider is sweet, because we're gonna be adding apple cider into this sauce, that we add a good amount of savory elements as well. There we go, shallots ready to go. Like I said, small onion, totally fine. Let's take a peek. All right, that's pretty, right? Not done. Pretty, nope. I want some color, honey. Anytime you get nice fat on something, you want a deep, deep color on that, okay? That's gonna equal all the flavor. So, all right, we got our shallots rolling. Let's get some fresh herbs. Now, with apples, I love some sage. I know it smells like Thanksgiving. That's how when everybody uses them. I like to use sage all the time. So I just get some leaves. I'd say about a tablespoon or two. If you don't have fresh sage, please feel free to just grab a little dried sage to add in here as well. I'm all about the substitutions, what you have in your pantry. Do a little chop on those. Beautiful. Add that over there. I'm also gonna let's do some fresh thyme. All right, now I'm gonna give a flip, okay? I can feel it. They're gonna be crispy. Ooh, yes, honey, give those a flip. That's flavor right there. That's flavor. Isn't that gorgeous? That crust. All right, do your thing. Now, my thyme, just go ahead and, well, these are pretty gentle, so there we go. Just very gently pull them off. And now for also the apple I'm going to use. People get pretty particular about which apples to cook with. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't care, whatever looks big and juicy. I got a Honeycrisp apple, but I've probably used every kind of apple possible in this dish and they all work out great. So it's not like baking where you need them to be super sweet or super sour. This is gonna it just adds a little complexity to the sauce. So whatever apples you like, you can add it right in. All right, we got our fresh thyme. Let's take a look at our chicken here. All right, browned on both sides. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put it right back in here because we gotta make some sauce. Yeah, buddy. We got lots of flavor going on the bottom of this pan. Chicken fat. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna put the rest of our butter in here because that's gonna add a little richness to this sauce. And let's get our herbs, thyme, sage, and our shallots going in. I'm gonna grab one of my lovely wooden spoons. Video, top 5 things you must have in your kitchen. Again, heavy wooden spoon. Let's give this a little stir around. See, I'm kind of scraping the bottom here with that butter, the herbs. I can turn it down a little bit here. Get those shallots broken up, cooking down. All right, so on deck while these are cooking, got a few things here. We're gonna go ahead and add a little Dijon mustard. Just a little bit, it's a little teaspoon. We're not looking to make a mustard sauce. It's just gonna add a lovely little background noise here, background flavor to our sauce. And now we need to get our apple. I don't bother with a core or anything like that. I just kind of move my way around it. Nice thin slices, and get them right in. Start cooking down a little bit. All right, apple sinking into that butter. Oh, be quiet. Hear my fire alarm beeping at me to warn me. Get those apples sinking down. Got another half here. Beautiful. All right, so now we're cooking it with the sage, with the fresh thyme, letting it soak up. And we have a few things ready to go then on deck while these shallots get nice and soft. Got a little bit of Dijon in there. All right, Few things on deck here. I have 3 tablespoons of flour. 3 tablespoons of flour. That's what's gonna thicken our sauce and make it super delicious. I have a cup of chicken broth ready to go. And then I'm gonna add to this a cup of apple cider. Now, can you use apple juice? Absolutely. Get an unsweetened one if you decide to do that. But also, apple cider is unfiltered. So it just has that really strong apple, bitey brightness to it. So I prefer apple cider. I think it adds a much bigger depth of flavor, but apple juice will work too. So I have a cup of that and a cup of chicken broth ready to go. So I don't want my apples to get too soft here, and my shallots look like they're in a good spot. So now I'm gonna sprinkle in my flour. Like I said, this is what's gonna thicken it up. And really give this a good stir, let that sink into the butter, into the chicken fat. Those apples are just sinking in with the fresh herbs. Now those herbs, sage, thyme, what are some other ones? Rosemary, bay leaves, those harder herbs you need to cook down. You don't sprinkle these on raw, okay? These need to be cooked, otherwise they're gonna taste like a pine tree. All right, see how that flour is now cooking out, getting nice and thick, coating the apples, but I'm still giving them just a minute. Oh, that sage smells good. Don't just use sage for Thanksgiving. Use it for everything. All right, so now this has had a chance to cook for a minute or so. Let's go ahead and get our liquid in here. I like to do about half at a time. That way you don't shock the pan and get it freezing cold if your apple cider is right out of the fridge. See how it's already kind of becoming glossy and like a glaze? You see that, Steven? Look at it, I can drag my spoon through and it leaves a little room there. We'll add the rest in. Just like that, give it a good stir. And now we're gonna nestle our chicken back in here. But I'm just gonna let that, make sure it's nice and even. Okay, now I'm gonna take my chicken. I'm gonna nestle it in, but the crunchy skin still stays on the outside. You can very obviously, these are 4 very big chicken thighs. If you'd rather use 6 smaller ones, please feel free. And see how it's already starting to come to a simmer here on the edges? That's what we want. So once, we don't want it at a full boil. We don't want to boil these to death. We're gonna turn the heat down, let it simmer. We're gonna cover it. We're gonna let it hang out for about 12 minutes. And at 12 minutes, it should be good to go, but if you have really thick ones like my chicken thighs are, I'm gonna go ahead and get an instant read thermometer and make sure that they're in a good spot. But for right now, Steven is now gonna entertain you somehow for 12 straight minutes. Go. Oh God, I was watching it. Son of a... All right, so it's been 12 minutes and I just temped them. Oh, look at that sauce. I'm gonna bring it over to you, Steven, so you can see. Oh yeah, baby. Look at that sauce. It's just rich and thick. It smells like cider, but you can smell a little bit of that Dijon in there. Here's what I'm gonna do right now. We need to season this bad boy up because you notice I didn't add any salt and pepper to this. So what I'm gonna do, let me get a little old, look at this, I've burnt it. I've done everything to this. It's been with me 20 years. All right. I am going to move my chicken just onto a platter here. I'm not gonna carve it or anything. I just wanna make a little room for my sauce and season it up. Now, like I said, I tempted. I grabbed a little digital thermometer, 10, 15 bucks on Amazon, stuck it in, it hit 160, that's what we're looking for. So try to make sure it doesn't touch the bone or anything, okay? Just stick it in the fattest part of the chicken. If you're around 160-ish, somewhere in there, you're in a good spot. All right, so now I'm just gonna give it a nice little stir. Look how rich that is. There's a little bit of yummy bits on the bottom. I'm kind of scraping up because that's chicken that sat on there and got nice and yummy, nice and thick. Now, let's do a little salt and pepper to start with our fingers, always nice and up high, even distribution. Little pep, give it a stir, give it a taste. Let's see what it needs. Now, I feel like I need to make this point. I should have made it earlier and I didn't. But just so you're aware, apple cider, not apple cider vinegar. Just want to make sure because I've had someone I taught this in a cooking class once and someone went home, made it with apple cider vinegar and I got a very mean email. That wasn't nice. Apple cider. All right, let's see. It's sweet and it's savory, and the sage comes through, and I think it needs a smidge more salt and pepper, and I am very happy with this. Boom, those apples have just softened up. I'm gonna nestle my chicken right back in. I serve this family style just like this at the table, so that way people can put a little of those apples right on top to add a little of that sweetness. Look how delicious that looks. Now, I like this very saucy. You can tell it's very saucy. So serve this with rice, with pasta, over some roasted potatoes. Roasted potatoes soak up that sauce so beautifully. Oh, so good. All right, I hope you make this. If you do, please put it in the comments and let me know what you thought. This is so perfect for any kind of day that's a little bit cool outside and you want comfort food, but it's just happiness in a big old pan. That's what I call that. And don't forget, subscribe, share, tell your friends, do all the things that you want to do because you like me, right? You're supposed to like me. Thank you. Stephen likes me. Stephen, by the way, my husband feels it is very important for me to point out, Stephen is not my husband. He just hangs out here all the time. We work together all the time. Stephen is my, you know what? You should try this. You always try it. You want to try it?
I'll try it.
Try it. Here, I'll just cut you. I'll make you the perfect bite. And I'll just give you one bite, one perfect bite. All right, I'm gonna get you a little bit of apple, a little bit of chicken, lots of sauce. This is gonna be your bite right here. I'm gonna come take over your camera. I know you get so nervous when I do this, so I don't drop it. All right, Stephen, everybody. Otherwise known as not my husband. My husband's this guy. Well, you blow on it. That guy right there. See, cute family photo. Not that guy. All right, let's see what you think. What'd you get? That's okay. All right, it might be hot, so I apologize. But tell me that's not like the perfect just melding of sweet, salty, savory, all the things.
The sauce is good.
Isn't that so good? Wouldn't you like that over roasted crispy potatoes? That kind of sweet and salty. All right, if Stephen's happy, I'm happy.
I gotta shout because you can't hear me. Like, subscribe, comment.
Boom! Say goodbye to the people.
Bye.
Now, once these come out, we're gonna saute up our shallots before we add in our apples. Shut up! Stop it! We're gonna have to saran wrap this. Smidge of coolness in the air. The one.